What if, one night, you looked up at the sky, and parts of it were missing? No clouds, no power outage, just perfect. Circular patches of nothing as if someone took a cosmic hole punch and stamped out pieces of the stars. You blink, rub your eyes, refresh your phone's camera, but the voids are still there, silent, immovable, watching you back. Within hours, the world goes crazy. Social media lights up with grainy videos of the sky glitch. Hashtags trend, sky is broken, eyes in the dark, simulation fail. Some call them alien portals. Others think it's the end of the world. But astronomers know the truth, and it's way stranger. Those aren't clouds, portals, or camera errors. They're black holes. And somehow, for the first time in history, you can see them with your own eyes, across the planet. People stare upward in awe. The night sky now glows with warped halos of twisted light stars bending around invisible giants. It's beautiful and terrifying, because the darkness between the stars isn't empty anymore. It's alive. So what happens next? Now that humanity can see the most dangerous objects in the universe, at first, no one believes it. The idea that human eyes fragile, limited, bound by evolution to see only a sliver of reality could suddenly perceive something as immense as a black hole feels impossible. But as the night deepens, disbelief begins to crack. The world steps outside and looks up. The stars are still there. But something has changed. The sky is no longer a tapestry of distant lights. It's full of wounds. Perfect. Circular voids interrupt the constellations, places where the universe itself seems to fold inward. Around their edges, faint rings of distorted light shimmer, like liquid glass bending under invisible weight. You can feel it in your chest. The air seems heavier, the silence deeper. The blackness above you is not absence, it's presence. It feels alive, and it's looking back, across the planet. People stand in streets, on rooftops, in open fields. Entire cities fall silent. There are no fireworks, no applause, no noise at all, just billions of eyes reflecting what should never be seen. The night sky is no longer comforting. It has become vast, raw, and almost sentient. Then the first confirmations arrive. Observatories, from Chile to Hawaii, report identical readings. NASA issues a statement before dawn. We are now visually detecting gravitational distortions consistent with known black hole signatures. There is no explanation for how, no warning, no precedent. Humanity has simply begun to see what was once invisible. As the hours pass, the spectacle deepens, the largest of the voids. Sagittarius A becomes visible at the heart of the Milky Way, its ring of light flickering like an ancient eye half awake. Other black holes reveal themselves in clusters, each surrounded by distorted halos of color, where starlight twists and loops in impossible patterns. Telescopes confirm what human eyes already know: the cosmos is not calm. It is a storm folded, tangled, alive with motion we were never meant to witness. And yet, no one can look away. Even as fear grows in the pit of your stomach, you're drawn to it. The sight is not violent or loud. It is absolute. The black holes do not shimmer or burn, they simply are. And in their presence, everything else feels temporary. As dawn approaches, the darkness remains. The black holes do not fade with sunlight. Their rings linger faintly in the sky, outlines of curvature drawn across daylight blue. For the first time, the day and the night share the same shadow. Scientists search for words to describe what they're seeing: Einstein rings, gravitational lensing, space-time curvature, but language feels small. Philosophers begin to whisper what no one wants to say out loud: that perhaps the universe has not changed, only our perception of it. You stand there beneath a sky you thought you knew and realize how fragile your understanding has always been. The constellations that once told stories of gods and heroes now frame something far older, far less human. Those black circles were always there, watching, waiting, swallowing the light we depended on to feel safe. And now that you can see them, you understand why the universe kept them hidden. The appearance of black holes in our visible sky would mark a fundamental shift in human perception. Until now, we've relied on indirect detection radio signals, X-ray bursts, gravitational waves to infer their presence. Seeing them directly would mean that something in the laws of vision, or the interaction between light and gravity, has changed. If the human eye could now perceive gravitational lensing, the night would no longer be familiar. The dark patches we see would not be holes in the sky, but regions where light from distant stars bends around an invisible center, what we'd call the ring of a black hole. The bright edge surrounding darkness is actually light that has been curved and amplified by immense gravitational pull. It's the last signal escaping before space folds in on itself. At first, the effect would be beautiful. The sky would shimmer with arcs and halos of distorted light, like reflections on moving water. Every star field would twist slightly, as if the universe were breathing. But the beauty would come with unease. Our brains, built to interpret linear space and flat horizons, would struggle to process such distortions. People might experience headaches, dizziness, or vertigo when looking at the sky. It wouldn't be fear of darkness, it would be the fear of a geometry that no longer makes sense. Astronomers would immediately begin mapping the positions of visible black holes. There are likely hundreds of millions in our galaxy alone, though only a few thousand would appear bright enough through gravitational lensing to see unaided. They'd dot the Milky Way like scattered burns across its surface, each a collapsed star. Each a reminder of something that once existed and now doesn't. Seeing them would change our relationship with the universe. For centuries, humanity has looked at the night sky and seen permanence patterns, constellations, fixed lights guiding travelers and calendars. But black holes reveal a universe that is not static, but in constant collapse and renewal. Every black circle visible would be a memorial to a star that died billions of years ago. The realization would be sobering. The cosmos is filled with destruction on a scale beyond comprehension, and yet it still holds together in perfect balance. The fact that we can see these remnants at all means that light, even when distorted, still finds a way to reach us. Within weeks, entire fields of science would shift focus. Astrophysicists could study how light curves in real time. Cosmologists could trace the warping of distant galaxies without the need for massive instruments. Even philosophers would join the discussion, asking if seeing a black hole truly means understanding it, or if it's just another illusion shaped by our limited senses. And yet, beyond the theories and equations, one truth would become clear to everyone who looks up: the universe is not an empty void filled with distant lights. It is a living structure, bent, stretched, folded, and now, for the first time, we can see its scars. In the months that follow, humanity begins to adjust. What was once a shock becomes routine, though nothing about it ever feels normal. The black holes remain quiet, patient, unwavering, every clear night. Their dark forms hang above cities and oceans, each surrounded by the faint shimmer of distorted light. Telescopes confirm what everyone can already see. There are more of them than we imagined, dozens visible to the naked eye, hundreds through modest lenses. They're scattered across the galaxy like fossils of collapsed suns, some small and dense, others monstrous and ancient. Together, they outline a truth we'd long suspected but never felt so deeply: that our universe is not made of stars, but of absence. For scientists, it's a revolution. No longer do they need to infer the presence of a black hole through equations or indirect data. They can measure the bending of starlight directly, watching in real time as photons trace impossible curves around invisible masses. Every observation refines our understanding of gravity itself. Within months, researchers detect subtle oscillations in light around certain black holes, possibly revealing the spin of their event horizons, a detail once thought unreachable. But the consequences extend far beyond science. Artists, poets, and philosophers find new symbols in the sky. Religions struggle to interpret what this revelation means. For some, the black holes are proof of cosmic order, vast and deliberate. For others, they are reminders of mortality, the universe showing us what waits when energy runs out. Humanity, once obsessed with stars as metaphors for life and hope, now finds beauty in the outlines of extinction. The psychological effects deepen. Therapists begin reporting cases of cosmic anxiety, a quiet dread triggered not by darkness, but by the awareness of infinite gravity pressing invisibly through space. Pilots describe feeling disoriented when flying at night, unable to trust the sky's geometry. Migratory animals begin behaving erratically, perhaps responding to the faint gravitational gradients now visible as light. Cities adapt in strange ways. Observatory tourism booms. Architects design towers and glass domes that frame the clearest views of Sagittarius A's, which now dominates the heart of the Milky Way like a distant flame. Some governments pass dark sky regulations to limit light pollution, so their citizens can see the cosmos in its full, terrifying detail. For the first time in human history, artificial brightness feels intrusive, an insult to the raw truth overhead. Children born into this new age never knew the old sky. For them, the black holes are not mysterious or frightening, they are simply part of the landscape. They learn to navigate by them, using their fixed positions like cosmic landmarks. The idea that earlier generations once lived without seeing these things feels almost unbelievable, like a story from before sight itself. And yet, for all the wonder, there is a growing unease. Scientists begin to notice something subtle. The positions of some black holes appear to drift, only slightly, but measurably. Their apparent movement might be an illusion caused by new layers of light bending. Or it might be something else, the faint tug of their gravity altering the path of our planet's own light. The equations are uncertain, the implications unclear. If those distortions continue, the sky itself could begin to shift. The constellations humanity has known for thousands of years would start to warp, their familiar patterns bending under invisible weight. Navigation systems, reliant on precise starlight readings, would require constant recalibration. The ancient idea of a fixed, reliable sky, the one constant in human history, would finally dissolve. Seeing black holes may have expanded our understanding, but it also ended a quiet illusion. We once believed the heavens were still. That light meant order, and darkness meant nothing. Now, we know the truth: the universe is restless, its structure curved and trembling under forces we can barely comprehend. And for the first time, the night is honest. It no longer hides what it truly is, an ocean of light, endlessly falling into its own depths. Years pass, and the sight of black holes in the sky becomes as ordinary as the moon once was. Humanity no longer gasps when they appear after sunset. We simply live beneath them, silent witnesses to the architecture of gravity. The world has adapted. Even if the mind never fully does, science continues to advance. Spacecraft now navigate using the gravitational distortions of nearby black holes, tracing the ripples they cast across starlight. Astronomers measure time differently, syncing clocks to the way light bends near the edge of darkness. Entire fields of physics evolve from what began as a single night of confusion. We no longer speak of seeing black holes. We speak of reading them as if they were the language the universe was always written in. But beyond all the equations and discoveries, something deeper has changed. Humanity has learned humility. We used to think of the sky as a place of perfection, a backdrop for myth and beauty. Now we understand it as a record of collapse and survival. Every glowing ring above us marks the death of a star, yet it also proves that light, even when trapped, finds a way to reach us. The universe may consume itself, but it never hides the evidence. Children grow up tracing the dark circles in the sky, not with fear, but with quiet wonder. They ask if the black holes are dangerous. We tell them the truth, that they are far, unimaginably far, and that they are reminders of how much of existence happens beyond our reach. Eventually, the fear fades. What remains is a kind of peace. We have seen the unseeable and endured its weight. We have learned that beauty and destruction are not opposites, but reflections of the same truth. The sky, once a symbol of eternity, now feels fragile, alive, dynamic, finite. And as you stand beneath it one last time, watching the faint halos shimmer around the voids, you realize that this is what it means to live in an awakened universe. We used to search the stars for meaning. Now, we look into the darkness between them and understand that meaning was always there, waiting to be seen. For as long as we've existed, we've looked up at the night sky and called it beautiful. It was our map, our calendar, our storybook. We saw order in its stillness, comfort in its light. But when we finally learned to see black holes with our own eyes, that illusion ended. The sky was never still. It was never peaceful. It was just waiting for us to notice what had always been there, the shadows between the stars. Seeing black holes didn't destroy us. It humbled us. For the first time, humanity understood the scale of what we live inside. Every black circle above is the grave of a sun that once burned bright, a silent monument to impermanence. Yet even as those stars collapsed, their light still bends, still reaches us, still paints faint halos across the dark. We are witnessing the past, the universe's memory made visible. It changes how we see everything. Religion, art, even language bends under the weight of what the eyes now know. The idea of heaven becomes less about what lies beyond life, and more about the vast machinery that makes life possible. Death, gravity, time, they are not enemies. They are the scaffolding of existence itself. But maybe the greatest change happens within. We stop seeing ourselves as separate from the cosmos. The same gravity that shapes black holes holds the atoms in our bones. The same light that bends around the edge of an event horizon once shone on our world. To see the universe in its true form is to see our place within it fleeting, fragile, but undeniably part of the same design. So tonight, when you look up and see those faint rings of twisted light, remember what they really are, not symbols of destruction, but proof that even the darkest forces in nature cannot erase everything. Light always finds a path bent, delayed, distorted, but never truly gone. Maybe that's the lesson hidden in those shadows, that beauty isn't found in the things that last forever, but in the things that survive long enough to be seen. We once looked at the night sky and saw eternity. Now we look at it and see the truth. And maybe, for the first time in human history, that's enough.